James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
With us right now is our astronomer, the official astronomer of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour and the Saturday Extravaganza. Gary Swangin is with us. Gary is in parts elsewhere, but we can hear him, and thank you for making yourself available, Gary. We talked last when Artemis was about to go off. It's now about to come home. Little Canadian accent there. What do you think? What kind of week have they had? Or 10 days?
Well, thank you very much for having me on again, James. It's a pleasure. They've had an interesting week. You know, I've been trying to clock this thing in terms of events, records being set and broken. And it's so exciting. And it makes, you know, as a spectator, so to speak, it's so good to be alive, you know. It's so much fun.
So I think one of the biggest highlights that I saw, well, there are a few. First of all, I think one of the most touching things, the report of the naming of one of the craters for one of the astronauts' wives who had passed away. It was just beautifully touching the way that they did that. Being able to see pictures of the far side of the moon, known to some of us prior to your correction, the dark side of the moon. No, it's the far side of the moon, people. And those photographs are simply stunning and amazing. We have never seen that before.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. You know, all the other pictures or images that we've gathered from the moon were taken either at very close range, like in the Apollo space program, which did not allow you to see the entire surface of the far side of the moon. And secondly, anything else was done robotically. So these were very special images. And boy, it was not only touching. I mean, it just, I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know how the rest of people felt about it. But it was just breathtaking.
Now, here is what surprised me. And let me see. I've been on social media. I have not seen so many images, postings about anything that we have done in space ever. Because, of course, when the Apollo missions were going, social media was still decades away. So to see images and to see, and NASA has been taking advantage of that by publishing images of Jupiter that have been never before seen and just incredibly beautiful, of Saturn, of the other. So they're just like, hey, we have everybody's attention. Let's show them the beauty of this creation. And that has just been incredibly inspiring to see.
Well, they had an agenda, and the agenda was this, basically, you know, like towards the end of the Apollo program on 17, and then followed by the Apollo-Soyuz mission. Afterwards, you know, things kind of fell apart. And what I mean by that is that they didn't have that much financial support, and then, of course, you had the space shuttle. But the point is that NASA has done a heck of a good job this time, because we're not only getting images of just the moon, we're getting images of, spectacular images of Jupiter and Saturn and so forth. So they've done I think this was a combination of not only a successful mission, but something for NASA to kind of like show off, kind of say, hey, look, this is what we've done, and we're going to share these exciting things with you. And that's a little bit different from the way it used to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have to ask you, re-entry is tonight. Now, I've read a number of stories, and one of the stories talked about the Artemis 1 and how on re-entry, chunks of the heat shield were missing when they looked at it when it came back. And the heat shield represents a danger. There was a long story in one of the mainstream press about how, look, we're not saying that this is... they didn't want to hype it up to be danger, Will Rogers, but at the same time, they said there is a risk involved with this re-entry, and the way they framed it, it's a greater risk than commercial air travel. because of what we know. Now, NASA has worked on the heat entry, the heat shield coming back. And then some of the news stories today, the Artemis crew will experience a grueling return home. They talk about the going from weightlessness into about 4 Gs on the reentry. What is your take on what we should expect tonight as this craft comes back into Earth's atmosphere and hopefully lands successfully in the Pacific Ocean and is met near San Diego Pacific by the U.S. Navy?
Well, reentry is a very serious maneuver because you can do two things. One, you can think of the atmosphere sort of like a surface of water. And if you come in too steep, like a rocket, if it comes in too steep, it'll sink. And if you come in too shallow, you'll bounce off the atmosphere and be hurled out into space. So that's a critical thing, too. If you come in too steep, but the heat shields get so hot, then you've got a serious situation. But they've worked out an interesting way of entering the atmosphere faster than any other craft that's done in previous histories of reentry. They're going to come in, they're going to, at incredible speed, initially about 25,000 miles per hour, and then they're going to slow down, bounce off a portion of the atmosphere, and then use another section of it to make a nice, hopefully, safe reentry. But it's a very critical phase, and I don't know, I think NASA didn't want to frighten people, but we're hoping that the shields will hold, and we're hoping that nothing serious happens to the astronauts because, we're at the end of the party right now.
Now, one of the things you just said just blew my mind. This they want to use the atmosphere to skip off of it to slow down. Also, when you're traveling at 25,000 miles an hour, explain to me, what is the sensation of, is it, when you take off, we know you experience the G's going up. They're going to experience G's. It's like the roller coaster when that hits you in your stomach, except in this case, it's so much more severe. So I understand that if you weigh 200 pounds and you get hit with the 4 G's coming back in, you feel like you weigh 1,000 pounds.
Correct. Exactly. Well, you get about 32 G's on that particular reentry. But you have to be careful. I mean, when you're asking me what it feels like, when you're traveling, say, from the Earth to the Moon, and you don't have a reference, in other words, you don't have trees or cars on the side of the road, it doesn't seem to be that fast. It's only when you decelerate or accelerate that you feel the G-forces. So that's what's going on. I mean, they're going to experience it because here they are weightless for 10 days, and all of a sudden they've got this gravitational pull due to the deceleration of the spacecraft, and then eventually as they get closer to the Earth's surface, they're going to feel more of it. So, yeah, it's kind of, for them, I mean, I think it's going to be a rude awakening, not a rude awakening, but they've been used to that. But it's going to be a different experience. But this particular mission, they're coming into the Earth's atmosphere at a higher velocity than, I don't want to sound too technical, but a higher velocity than previous spacecraft. So this is kind of like and NASA is doing this because they want to do this to see what would happen if they had larger spacecraft entering the atmosphere of the Earth. So it's a test thing at the same time. It's not just like, well, okay, let's get quickly down to Earth. It's a test thing we're going down. And it's like the culmination of all the testing over the past 10 years. I mean, rather 10 days. The 10 days that we've been testing the spacecraft, now this is the last one.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that, I mean, it sounds to me like this is the ultimate ride that you could ever take in a capsule coming back into the Earth. It sounds like it's the ultimate experience you would ever take in a ride for speed freaks, for anybody. I mean, is it at all like that, or is that just my, to coin the Temptations, or is that just my imagination? Once again, running away with me.
I don't think it's your imagination because it is the ultimate ride thus far. But I would predict that in the future, this would be kind of like a regular thing, and there'll be other re-entries at maybe higher velocities. I'm not quite sure yet, but this is just my prediction. But, you and I we've never done this before, and I'm sure the listeners out there, they've never done this before. So, yes, it would be an ultimate ride, but it's an exciting ride. It's an exciting experience. And yeah, it really makes me feel I'm glad I'm alive to look at this stuff.
Me too. These images that have come back, Gary, I look at these images, and the only thing I think the most is how beautiful God's creation is. How incredibly and how little we truly understand about God's creation. That's what comes to my mind.
Yes. You know, James, my personal reflection, I looked at 2001: A Space Odyssey about a million times. And when I saw the images coming back from the Artemis 2, some of them from various cameras installed on the spacecraft, as well as some of the pictures that the astronauts photographed, it gave me goosebumps to think that for some really uncanny reason, I was propelled from back then when this film was made until today. And it's absolutely amazing. It's like science fiction becoming science.
Wow. And that I know exactly what you mean. And that's what makes me wonder about, and this is something that I've heard from other, I don't know whether it's futurist or whatever. And the idea is this, that if we can imagine it, then it can be possible. Because that is what that is what the essence of being made in the image of the Creator truly is all about. Now, I don't know whether we want to go there or not, but I have heard that so anything that we can imagine can actually come into creation.
Well, I think the good thing about this entire mission and this idea of traveling out in space is that we have so many problems here on Earth, and it takes our mind away from those things. And
yes.
Here we have the moon. The moon is out there saying, hey, here I am. You can visit me. So people ask me, why do you want to go to the moon? I said, because it's there. Because it's there. It gives us something to look forward to in terms of exploration of the space and the universe.
Yeah. Well, Gary, we got to end it there for the day. Enjoy your trip.
I am.
Okay, and when we are going to do a podcast soon, I can't wait to do a debrief on this entire mission. Our prayers and our prayers are for a safe return of our brave astronaut. And let me tell you something. That's the other thing. These people may think it doesn't take bravery. What they're doing takes courage to do. And what they have done takes courage. These astronauts come back being the farthest away from Earth in terms of distance than any human beings have ever been, at least while they're living in the human bodies. Absolutely. What they've done is incredible.
Absolutely, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, James.
All right, Gary is going to come out. He's our astronomer, folks. I'm so happy he's here. Gary, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Love you. Talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you very much, and clear skies, James.
Clear skies to you, my friend. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Most nerdly.